I'm Gabrielle Thomas, and this is VCU InSight. Richmond Public Schools returned to in-person learning September 8th with strict rules to keep students safe. Some of the rules include restricting parents and caregivers from entering the building and only providing contactless grab-and-go meals to students. RPS is also encouraging anyone 12 or older to get the Pfizer vaccine. A parent or guardian must sign a consent form for the child to receive the vaccine. The weather is cooling down in the Commonwealth. However, COVID-19 cases have not. VCU InSight's Kyra Willis gives us the latest COVID update.
Thanks, Gabrielle. VCU's COVID cases continue to rise as students and staff readjust to life on campus. According to together.vcu.edu, there were 32 active student COVID-19 cases and 11 active employee cases reported during the fourth week of September of this year. 25.1% of these cases were found through symptomatic testing, 0.23% through surveillance testing, and 0.41% through entry testing. There are currently 9 students in isolation on campus. Back to you, Gabrielle.
As we end the month of September, the general election is fastly approaching. VCU InSight's Rachel Sackadorf has more on the upcoming election.
As early voting begins in Virginia, Becca Elrod with VCU Votes has been working to register college students to vote, as well as educate them.
Normally we go out and you literally go up to people and we're like, are you registered to vote? There's tabling on campus, just talking and trying to get people to make sure they're registered, to make sure that if they choose to change the location that they are registered, because you can't vote at VCU or can vote home, that they understand what that is.
Elrod emphasizes the importance of making an educated vote.
It's important to be educated in general. Knowledge is power, and especially when we live in a country where it really values that, and our ability to be able to vote knowledgeably is important. Voting shapes who and what our policies are. It shapes our lives.
Some VCU students agree that being knowledgeable about voting is important. VCU student LB Caleb thinks it's necessary for students to show up at the polls.
I think if you're younger, you know a lot more about what younger people want. I think also younger people tend to have a more progressive view of things and can see things in a different light.
Caleb has a few changes that she would like to see in Virginia following the election.
I'd like to see strict COVID guidelines. I think things that could change within the year. I think especially with universities having more of an overall mandate about COVID.
The upcoming election is on November 2nd, which will be covering the governor as well as local elections. The deadline to register to vote is October 12th, and the last day of in-person voting is October 30th.
With VCU InSight, I'm Rachel Sackadorf. Back to you, Gabrielle.
The controversial Texas abortion heartbeat bill is still causing uproar around the country. Angelique James has more on the story.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the Texas abortion bill into place in September, banning all abortions after 6 weeks. The fetal heartbeat bill makes abortion a state felony, charging up to $10,000 in fines and up to 2 years in prison. VCU professor and communications lawyer Bill Oglesby speaks about what this ban could do in the future.
We've seen in the past, going back easily to World War II in Nazi Germany, where neighbors turned on neighbors and were collaborators. That kind of thing is a very, very dangerous territory to get into, and that's what the Texas law does.
The Texas abortion bill is different than other bans before. Oglesby tells how.
So in this case, what they're doing is they're actually directly challenging constitutional law. And so that's what makes this unusual. And it has become, it's not the first time that's been done, though, and it's become, particularly with the abortion issue, sort of a favorite kind of tactic of states that are primarily, at least their legislatures, are primarily anti-abortion.
The ban has created protests across the nation, according to CNN. Gender, sexuality, and women's studies major Jalen West speaks about how she feels about the ban as a student and as a woman.
There are other things in the world that need to be discussed other than the control over a woman's body, but the government should look into the adoption system that is in place and how it has failed many of the children in it. And it could be the true reason why a lot might choose an abortion over birthing a child.
Thank you for tuning in, and please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. I'm Gabrielle Thomas, and this is VCU InSight.